All right, everyone, welcome back to the Midnight Magic Musings Channel. I am still your humble host, the Lord Cephas, but by popular demand, we have brought back a special guest. Let's be honest, she's really the brains behind the operation. Lady Cephas is joining us once again because she has some things she wants to talk about in terms of Dead City, the spinoff of The Walking Dead. Now, this is going to be a realm of reality, and this is episode 13, but we want to emphasize at the very beginning there are spoilers to Dead City episode number 5. That's why this will drop after Dead City airs on Sunday. So people have had an opportunity to see it on AMC or AMC Plus before they get spoiled. But you have been warned. Spoilers are ahead. Okay, I think we got all that out there. All right. Well, before we get started, you know what we're going to ask you to do. A little bit of housekeeping matters here. If you would click the like button, that really does help us with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you've not done so. If you like the craziness that you see, stick around. I promise there'll be a whole lot more to come. Share this thing out on your preferred social media platform. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate all the assistance that you all are giving us. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, Dead City, episode 5, the penultimate episode, as there are only 6 episodes in season 1. We're hoping for season 2, is titled, Lady Cephas, The Stories We Tell Ourselves. And I have to tell you, I think it's interesting that pretty much every episode they've done this season, they've incorporated the title into some of the verbiage. I think that's really smart because it just reemphasizes the importance of paying attention to the little things. What are some little things that have jumped out at you so far this season from Dead City? Have there been anything, been callbacks to the previous shows or anything that really was like, you know what, you got to be paying attention or you might miss some of the stuff?
Well, the only thing that I really noticed that they've gone back and shown are the clips when Negan killed Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
There was the nice episode last week with the recurrence of, what was his name? I forget his name.
Og is his last name.
The guy that he died. He died. I forget his name.
Only Morgan doesn't die. They all die.
No. Negan's. He was one of Negan's right-hand man.
Right. I'll get to it here in a second. Yeah.
I can't remember his name for some crazy reason.
Sure. But you appreciated that particular thing about him. I know that they referenced Hilltop.
They did.
They've referenced the Kingdom several times. Those are nice little throwbacks for longtime fans, I think.
Absolutely.
It kind of fills in some gaps of things we didn't see or kind of predates The Walking Dead.
Did you catch that Jenny came from Oceanside?
You know what? I did not catch that at first, but she is correct. He did come from Oceanside, which again is one of those. It's one of the group. I'm not sure how many of them are actually left.
Well, I find that very interesting because I don't think that they really covered what happened to Oceanside, after the fall.
Well, they didn't, and it really didn't cover much at the end either of Walking Dead, because remember there was an emphasis last few episodes, we've got to get back to Oceanside.
Right.
Never really understood why.
Well, I thought, and maybe I need to go back and watch it again, but I thought that the people from Oceanside were put on the train and sent to, that other place. I can't.
And there were only a couple of people that escaped. Luke escaped.
Yes.
Sort of. Sorry, rest in peace, Luke. And his girlfriend. What was her name? Sarah, maybe?
I don't remember.
Rest in peace as well. So some interesting callbacks and throwbacks. They're just enough that if you're a really focused Walking Dead person, little things that'll kind of pique your interest. For someone just picking up the series, they're not going to get that. But I think this show, outside of Tales, which tried with the episode with Alpha, this one really had a lot of callbacks. I think this is the first one that they've really successfully done that. Now, I'm sure Rick and Michonne will. I'm sure Daryl Dixon will.
I hope so.
But this one, again, you heard my comments last week. I'm really, really enjoying the way this is going. So the episode is The Stories We Tell Ourselves. And boy, is there a story somebody is telling themselves.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I had to say this, and I warned Lady Cephas before we started that I was going to put this up here. When you watch the episode and you see Maggie's outfit, I'm telling you, that's Laura Croft from Tomb Raider.
Absolutely. As a avid Tomb Raider fan, I play those games and have for years. Yeah, she definitely dressing the part of Laura, taking on some of the
had the blue
mannerisms.
Top. She did, and she had the blue top. Now she wasn't wearing the shorts; she was wearing the full pants. She had the gun, she had the knife. It made me think of her, and honestly, in this episode, I was also getting quite a bit of flashback to what's the one Resident Evil. Because there's some serious Resident Evil type stuff.
Well,
going on in
you're
this
mixing,
as well.
You're mixing Laura Croft with Resident Evil, so you've got, Laura is a treasure hunter, and Resident Evil, they're fighting zombies. So
you don't say zombies.
Well, in The Walking Dead and Dead City and all of those, Walker. Well, I don't even think they're calling them walkers, but they were zombies, and
they were, and it was a very successful franchise. But I really find it interesting the showrunner Eli Jorn, who we'll reference at the very end of the program.
Yes,
we'll save our platitudes for then, and hope like heck episode 6 is as good as episode 5, so we don't have to come back and go, oh, this was the worst thing ever. But he's really got his finger on the pulse. I think they have made, just my opinion, they have made Dead City what The Walking Dead started out to be, and that is a horror show.
Absolutely. I think, sadly, with the downfall of Fear didn't turn out to be, the last 5 seasons maybe didn't turn out to be near as good as it should have been, which we talked about before. Dead City is right there. Like when The Walking Dead came on and it captured me, Dead City has done the same thing.
I wasn't sure after the first episode. I was a little mixed. Like this seems like a complete opposite. But this episode, I really feel like, and that's what a penultimate episode is supposed to do. Tie it all together so that the final episode can do what it needs to do. They did it. And I'll get more into it.
They did.
That's a lot of platitudes early on, but
and I'm impressed. I mean, with just an hour episode, holy cow, did they pack it in?
And that's interesting you bring that up, because sometimes episodes they just fly through and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, I used to do that.
Coming up next on The Talking Dead, and we knew they had like 15 minutes left. It's very disappointing. This episode felt a lot like that. Like, how did you get that much into that episode? So again, if you can't tell, we liked it. We liked it a lot.
I mean, there were a couple of things that I wasn't excited about, but we'll cover that a little bit.
We'll be fair
bit later on.
We'll be fair across the board.
Sure.
So in the opening scenes, they really pushed on the whole hot boxing. The walkers, keeping them underground as a source of fuel, of methane. You know what? It's the first Walking Dead franchise to actually tap into sort of the chemistry or the science of that. Now, CRM did some, if you look at Walking Dead World Beyond, which was good. This one's a little bit different. This is sort of a more underground, no pun intended, kind of grungy. This is like an escape from New York. Think about the 80s.
Like a chemical lab.
Yes, it's very post-apocalyptic, like the way you would think.
Yeah.
A lot of times these movies they're a little bit too clean. This show's not shooting for too clean.
Oh no.
They're like, we've got New York to play with. Let's make it look, if worst case scenario happened. Look, props, no pun intended, to the props department.
Oh yeah.
Art, set director, set pieces. It's really good stuff.
It's incredible what they did. The fat pile. Oh my goodness, that was where did that come from? Oh my goodness.
The creativity to even think in those terms. Because if you're hotboxing,
never would have.
Bodies decay.
Yeah.
It's sick, it's twisted, but visually and storytelling wise, it's crazy.
And we see these bodies in different forms of decay.
That's true.
But we've never seen that.
Nope.
Never have seen that. That was mind-blowing gross.
And say what you want about the Croat, who probably wouldn't hear what we have to say because he's missing an ear, but that's pretty smart. That's pretty, there have not been a lot of great characters Walking Dead in Walking Dead the series that are super genius level.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, Eugene notwithstanding.
But is he really the genius behind it all?
Well, we're gonna have to watch episode 6 and find out see if that actually answers that question, because I theorized early on there's going to be a season 2.
I believe there will be a season 2
somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, right now with the writer's strike and then the subsequent actors strike, it might get put off for a little while, but time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. I hope that it doesn't get pushed back like Rick and Michonne keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And I feel like if you wait too long, then you really lose that opportunity to grab that audience, keep them engaged, keep them coming back. I
think you're right. Originally when they announced 6 episodes for Rick and Michonne, I was like, well, there's no way. But it's been pushed back again, and it will more than likely be pushed back again.
It might.
Six episodes might be all you need at this point.
They're done filming this, if I remember. So
that might be all you need.
Pushing it back, I don't know.
I didn't know if there was post production and stuff that goes on in the back end, because I believe the strike affects those folk as well.
I don't know.
So if that's the case, they max only do 6 episodes and call it a series. Because otherwise, you're looking at the second season. So if they come out at the end of 2024, at the earliest, it could come out late 2025 if everything broke correctly. Now you look at late 2025, 2026, which means Rick will have been off of The Walking Dead for how many actual years? 9 years? He dropped off in what, 2019? 2020?
I'm wearing my Rick Grimes shirt, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, Rick's been gone so long that I don't care if he comes back or not. I like him and Michonne together, but honestly, when he left, I kind of was ready for him to go. His stick, it was getting kind of on my nerves a little, but maybe it was that whole Coral thing. Coral. I don't know, but definitely Negan and Maggie, Daryl and Carol. Yeah, they do it for me.
They do. They're the interesting ones from the series that act like there's more story to tell.
Yes, absolutely.
You could tell more stories.
Right.
You could add some of the characters from the Walking Dead franchise into Tales. Do stuff before or after. But spinoffs, I think they picked the right ones to actually.
Oh, I agree.
And you could sprinkle some of the others in if you can get them back.
Well, I do know that there's a fan base that for Rick and Michonne. And I get it. I would like them to see them tie up that storyline. But as far as something definitely continuing on, definitely want to, I can say 100% Maggie and Negan need to continue on. I'm going to reserve judgment for Daryl to see, what they do with that. Make sure they don't fear the Walking Dead out of it.
I think he's got more clout.
Well, I think he does too. But they moved Morgan over to Fear, and that did not help it. But in my opinion, that's my opinion.
She's a hater on Morgan.
I'm not a hater on Morgan, but we'll see. Time will tell.
I feel like those characters and the actors who portray them and actresses are going to get more say. I feel like Jeffrey Dean Morgan and
they're executive producers,
right? And I think he's had more say so in it, or Lauren Cohan, who's also an executive producer,
as they should.
They know their characters,
right.
but I also think there's something that gives them is as they're getting older. No disrespecting to as actors,
right?
You can kind of take not just that character you're playing, but the person you are today versus the person you were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Forget seasons. I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing kind of the next progression of their characters because the actor and actress is getting older and feeling differently and undergoing things differently.
Yeah.
All right, I'll try not to be so esoteric. We'll move on here. At the very beginning of the episode, Lady Cephas, there is a look that Jenny. Now Jenny don't talk. All she does is look, and she'll nod her head occasionally. Except she does talk at the end of the episode. Stay tuned for that spoiler. She gives Maggie a look that at the very beginning of the show, when you watch it the first time, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it didn't really connect
until the end of the episode.
So, yeah,
but we assure
and it was
you,
like, oh my goodness,
it's the ability to emote without saying a word, and the young lady has it. And look, Lauren Cohen's done a wonderful job this season of doing that because
100%.
She has not really talked that much. Negan's been the one who does all the talking, but she does hers with her physicality, how she holds her body, how her face looks,
facial expressions, 100%.
And looks in this episode are tremendously important for where they're going to go.
Yes.
All right. Well, we want to give an RIP moment here because apparently the entire resistance group is now dead, save two. That would be Tommaso and Amaya. So they walked into a trap with like 6 or 7 people total. If you don't count,
they weren't a big group to begin with.
They were not. Which really leads us into the next one, which is Tommaso finally comes out and says what we've all known. He loves Amaya. Amaya loves Tommaso. But there's this little thing. See, it never really was understood. How was he able to get in and get out so cleanly? Let me quote Star Wars for a moment. They let us go. That's the only reason for the ease of our escape. Princess Leia says that when they escaped the Death Star in episode 4.
Yeah.
And they're like, easy, you call that easy. But if you go back and think about it, as many people as the Croat has, versus the 4 that are left. Now, admittedly, he was after Negan, but they had enough numbers to overwhelm what was left. And so it becomes very clear that there had to be something going on there.
Well, I think that there was a question, but it wasn't really fleshed out all that much until now. And it really didn't come about until, there was a question. How did they know they were coming?
Right.
How did they know they were coming?
Exactly.
Somehow they knew. And then when, spoiler alert, the oxygen tanks with the masks were discovered. I thought that one that could have played a little bit sneakier, but that came out pretty quickly that he was the traitor.
So let's play it out. How would you have done that if you were really trying to be sneaky? Because the minute he took his backpack off.
Yeah. Well, remember when she went to go grab his backpack, Amaya, and he moved?
Right.
And I said to you, he's been bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And that's what I thought when they were in the arena, and he like disappeared for a little bit, like he was taken over by walkers.
They didn't bite him; they just grabbed him and kind of pulled him off to the side.
Yeah, how did he not get bit? But anyway, that's initially what I thought.
Right.
With his reaction is, oh, he's been bit, and he doesn't want her to know.
Right. Exactly.
That was not the case.
No, I think actually it was a better plot device to do it that way. Now, again, that was more of that looking, that staring, the physical aspect of the acting of her staring a dagger through him watching. And that's interesting because at this point of the apocalypse, you don't survive by accident or being stupid.
Right.
She is so incredibly observant.
You mean Maggie?
Maggie, yes. That she's like, oh, look, he took it off. Then magically he found something. It does look a little bit questionable. Right. Oh, you're fine. As to how that might work. And so, as it turns out, Maggie puts it together super quick. Yeah. Maybe a little too quick. But it was at the point where that was going to resolve itself anyway. So if she didn't say it quickly, the end probably would have come before she got to say it all. Apparently, Tommaso was a traitor. He gave up his co-brethren because there were promises of homes, brick homes.
Yes, with kitchens and
and,
whatnot.
and I heard that. I'm like, that is silly. And then I thought for a second, no, it's
He
8, 9,
was-
10 years into the apocalypse,
Yeah.
and he lived in the world before.
Right.
Who doesn't want to go back to what you know and what?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and if you think about it, look at what they had at Alexandria.
Mhm.
I mean, they had homes.
Yep.
They were able to. They had solar electricity, and they were able to cook and do all of that. But
Literally, all you gotta do is give Carol 2 rocks and a piece of bread. You got dinner. We learned that in
Yes,
Alexandria because
yes.
she's special like that.
But at last, Tamaya, or I'm sorry, Tama. Yeah, we could call them Tamaya.
They ended up with Tamaya. Yeah,
They
did because we shipped them
Or-
together literally.
Or no more.
But you know what's interesting with all that? And I thought that happened really quick because
It did.
Amaya was gone like that,
Yeah.
and Tommaso was as well. But I think there was something to that brevity in that it's hard to wrap your head around all this just happened and then that happens.
Yeah.
Now horror people, they're used to seeing that kind of stuff.
Right.
But again, if you watch Lauren Cohen's face in that, she's processing. This guy was not trying to get everyone killed.
Right.
He was trying to protect the one he loved. And I
Yes.
still think she was pregnant. Even though they didn't say it, I
Okay.
still feel like that's where he said, I'm doing it for, and he stopped.
Yeah.
Well, I already knew he loves Amaya, so that was my interpretation of what was not said, right? Maybe not,
No.
Lord Stevens over here in his own little world. But thought that stuff was pretty interesting.
Mhm.
And yes, they both died. So unfortunately, it's the bubble portion here. It is the Lawrence Welk portion for those super old that will get that. We got some more movement on the story, a little bit more clarification
Yes.
because the new Babylon constable has had
Yes.
Negan at nail point basically with that
Yes.
little homemade weapon, which by the way, fantastic. I want one personally because
Right.
then you can rip somebody up but good. And apparently you can also do home improvement repairs. We saw that as well.
Mhm.
Negan finally came out and admitted what happened. He didn't kill one officer.
Well, I honestly thought, that it wasn't really clear when he killed those people. But now, having watched it a second time, I completely understand. What they did to Annie. She almost died.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have killed him too.
So now he's down 5 lawmen, which he did by himself, by the way. No Lucille. Pretty darn impressive. And that's what they're after him for.
Right.
And he made the explanation, and you can see in the face of the lawman because he's been altered a little bit now.
Yeah.
Because look, if you saw in the first episode, shoot, he just summarily executed the lady.
Yep.
Shoved her face first into a bunch of walkers because
Sure
she
did.
violated the code.
Yep.
And that's just the way he's been. But you know what? It's a little different when you're confronted with that. It's easy when you're on that side of it.
Well,
and I think they've slowed, because we were wondering how long is this going to take for his eyes,
Right.
or will they even be open? I think they've done a really nice job developing, bringing him to that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did not just, at first when Negan saved him, he did not just, oh, okay, well, bygones are bygones, whatever. No, he was still going to take Negan in, and it wasn't until he saw that brochure that reminded him about his brother,
Right.
to kind of crack that shell and let a little light in, because I mean Negan saved him and helped him a couple of times escape, and he was having none of it.
He wasn't, but we do find there is a possible way off the island.
There is,
because of his prior job.
Yes.
Remember, boys and girls, grow up and work for the state, because in an apocalypse, that background may actually help you get off the island.
It might.
So apparently, if you are picking up driftwood and debris, that opens up the possibility. It's the bubble show. All right. Well, that leads us into the next thing, my lady, and that is there's a lot of rationalization going on in this episode by Maggie, because it seems like she has been laser focused on everything, but all of a sudden
It
It
all
all-
comes full circle and makes sense.
because she's been having the flashback, which, by the way, is still very graphic.
It absolutely is.
And so every time that's played, any longtime fans, you cringe. Like, I remember that feeling when I saw it when it happened, because we watched it live. And
Right.
they've done a really good job splicing that in. At first, I thought it was just for shock effect. Oh, look, we still remember.
Yeah.
They've really done a nice job splicing it in where it belongs.
Right.
It's made a lot. I feel like it's made a lot of sense there, and it's driven her right to rationalize all of these things. But you can kind of see the cracks starting to form.
Yeah.
In her mind as well, because she constantly bags on Negan. And listen, I'm not arguing for Negan to be forgiven. Some things are unforgivable. But at least at the end of The Walking Dead, they had some sort of an uneasy truce.
Right.
Nothing more than that.
And that's what's been confusing for me. Is like, okay, how did they get to that point in The Walking Dead, and then now time jump into Dead City to going back like it's fresh day one that this happened?
And the last 5 minutes of the episode
Explain.
actually explain that, and really, to me, invigorates me for the final episode, because now everything is on the table. We'll get to it here in just 1 second.
I want to talk a little bit about Maggie.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
You are a Maggie supporter. Go ahead.
Well, for Maggie, we talked about this earlier and keep going back to, why is she holding on to this? I mean, she knows what he sacrificed. She knows what he would have done differently had he been able to do it differently, because she asked him,
She did.
if you could do it differently, what would you do? He said, I would have killed all of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, and he told her, just like she, protected Hilltop. She fought for Alexandria. She fought for the kingdom and everything. Those were her people.
Yes.
Well, that's what Negan was doing. Negan was fighting for his people. So how do you fault him for that? Was he a good person? No. But he took care of his people. Everybody had a job, some unsavory, but those people had food, they had a place to sleep, and they were protected. And then they came in and, attacked them, understandably so. So I think for Maggie, Maggie is struggling with herself, because she knows that it's within her to forgive.
Yeah.
And she doesn't, there's a war going on with her. She doesn't want to forgive him, but she knows she can. She feels like she shouldn't forgive him, but she knows that maybe she should.
And see, I'm disappointed. Well, I don't know if it got in time, to be fair, but these shows get no Emmy love.
No,
at all. And I think her performance, at the very least in a limited series, should at least get a look. Because
and Negan too.
I think she sees his human side.
Yeah.
And that messes with her more than the monster side, because all she wants is the monster, and here's the human side. Now he's taking care of a little girl.
Right.
Well, there must be some nefarious reason. Now, they don't go in that particular direction, thankfully. But she cannot believe that he would want to care for a child, because she took the father away, or he took the father away of her child. But I will say this. He made a statement to her final season of Walking Dead. How many moms and dads did you kill?
Exactly.
Because Gracie, who is with, what's his name? Aaron. She had a mom.
She did.
She had a dad. And they were killed presumably at the satellite outpost. And he hit her with that. And you know what? She didn't really react to it. She was sort of like, I'm going to give you nothing on that.
Right.
But in the last few episodes, you can see that the toll. It's hard enough. Her son's been taken. That part is absolutely true from the setup of the show.
Yeah.
The reason for it, though, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yes.
But that weighs on any parent. But now you reinsert this figure that's so polarizing. And all the thoughts you've had, and now you're getting some mixed signaling. she went through that at the end of the Walking Dead series, but they sort of pushed it aside to kind of get them to where they needed to.
Yeah.
Now they're really exploring.
Yep.
They're delving into it. And I feel like, but isn't that what we want in our storytelling?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just give us a surface level, give us a little bit more. And they're actually doing that with characters that are very popular. As far as I've seen, the ratings have stayed good. So I feel like it will get brought back depending on how the strikes go. That could affect anything. But
Yeah.
the Maggie stuff I think is really, really interesting, really good storytelling. Here's another one that I thought was interesting. And that is Negan's having a conversation with the constable.
Yes.
And he looks at him and he says, "You think you know me?" Now, when I heard that, I was thinking of the WWE wrestler Edge, because that's his theme song. "You think you know me on this day?" No, I won't sing the theme song, but I could. I see clearly. I'll stop right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that's a great point, because that's a microcosm of all of us.
Yeah.
You think you know me.
You know me.
You know, we were courting, you date, you get married. You know a lot about the person, but you don't really know. And we do this every day in our lives. Oh, you think you know that person, but you really don't. And to me, here's what I get out of that. You think you know me? And he says this: if what had been done to my wife had been done to yours,
yep,
you would have killed him as well.
Yes.
And you notice that guy didn't bat an eye.
Mm-mm.
Because you know what the reality of it is? If someone had hurt my wife in real life, the way that had happened, you know what kind of feelings you would have. And really, to me, that's, you know what? Personal issues draw money.
Yeah.
Personal issues are some of the greatest entertainment value. And the reason is because we all have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that I don't think they're humanizing Negan so much. You know, because there was a lot of talk during The Walking Dead about his redemption tour. I never saw it that way. I saw it more of understanding why he is the way he is. We're not trying to explain it away.
Yeah.
We're just giving you the reasons why this is how he thinks and this is how he operates. And,
well, I think after all that time of him being locked up, you know, that gave him so much time to be in his own head that I think he was able to process and grieve Lucille, his wife that died.
Not the baseball bat.
Not the bat. I think it allowed him time to really come back to who he was before all of that.
Right.
Before you go into absolute savage survival mode. And that's what, you know, a lot of them, you know, in this apocalypse had to do. Like we talked about this earlier. So some became just total psychopaths. Right. You know, they've lost their minds, and you know, there's no medication, no psychiatry office you can go to that's going to help them with all of this. And then you have the people that went into full on survival mode. And, you know, some of them handled it well, and some of them didn't handle it as well. And just like Negan told the marshal on the stairs, he's like, I don't want to leave you behind.
Right.
I don't like leaving people behind. And I think that tells more of who Negan really is, you know. And like you said with Croad, you know, that's when the Croad was with him, that's when he knew that dude was even crazier than he was.
Yeah, and even Simon, who was
Simon,
big
that
flashback,
was his name,
played by the fantastic Stephen Ogg. By the way, ripped in the flashback too.
Oh, definitely,
brother, right on, looking good there.
Sorry, Simon.
It's okay, Simon. We love you, but it really does help flesh out the story.
Yeah,
and I really think the one thing that I've learned about the Negan character, what they have brought to the story.
Yeah.
Don't take this the wrong way. Negan was never able to have kids with his wife. He truly did love his wife.
He did.
Now, was he a great husband? Not the way they portrayed it. He
Not
seemed
really.
to like his video games more than anything else.
Sure. I mean, he was a young guy.
He was a young guy. She gets sick. It's obvious he loved her. He tried to do everything he could. Things happen. It didn't work. But you know what? He loves children. He was a gym teacher. Not one time in The Walking Dead did he ever hurt a kid. Even when Coral took a shot at him, he still protected him.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, to the point that when Carl dies,
and
I know we're all over the place, but we had a really good time watching it. We watched it twice to go with it. he blames Rick for Carl's death because I
Yes.
truly believe he was bothered by Carl's death. And you know what? What he does when he gets locked up, who does he start talking to and strike?
Judith.
Judith.
Mhm.
I don't think that was necessarily a middle finger to Rick Grimes or Michonne. I think
No.
that was he's very protective of kids.
Well, some people, you see this especially with introverts. It's hard for some people to talk to other adults,
Mm-hmm.
but they can talk all day long to a child.
Right.
And I think that's because with children don't have that, that um, hate or dislike, or they've not hardened their hearts yet like adults will.
Right.
As they get older, and people get hurt, they get their feelings hurt, or
Absolutely.
somebody hurts them very deeply, and so they have a scar, and so it's just easier to have. I've always described it as a pure love.
Mm-hmm.
A love of a child is a pure love because they haven't yet been taught heartache and hate, and it's just better for the soul, I think.
I think that may be the greatest transition ever
Mm-hmm.
because I think Jenny falls into that category. She's a
Yeah.
young child.
And she feels that with him.
She does, and that messes with Maggie because
does.
how can you feel for that monster? You know why? Because he's never been a monster to her. He never has. He has only looked out for her and protected her when she had nobody else.
Yeah.
And so you can tell her all you want. Oh, he's a terrible monster and a liar, and you don't know.
Well, that's a good segue into the next one.
See, that's exactly where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Liar.
Liar.
You want to take that one?
I do.
Go for it.
When Jenny got away,
Mm-hmm.
we thought Maggie was going to go down. She wrote in blood, liar.
Liar.
And, after all of that, Maggie saw that. And there's something from that part that we're going to come back to later. But, we were confused. Well, why would she call Maggie a liar? And then it goes on to show. See, Maggie lied that they stole all the grain and their food supply and all of that. That's not what happened. She saw it. That's why she went after Negan.
That's right.
That's why that little girl sat in a cooler and with a board paddled across to Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knew he was in danger.
Right.
That something was going to happen. You all can see my canning stuff now.
Sorry about that. I adjusted that incorrectly. There we go. There we go. I'll set it back the way that it was. Okay. Well, there you go. Technical difficulties.
But yeah, Maggie. So when Maggie said to her, "You don't know the monster that I know," and I think between knowing about the food and seeing her stuffed animal that Maggie had, which, by the way, why did Maggie not go through with burning it?
She was trying to coax her out.
I don't know. I think she was torn. Between she didn't want to let Negan know that Jenny was there.
And she said that. Mm-hmm. She said that in this episode. She did not want him to know because he would take her and leave.
Yeah, she needs him to get Herschel back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she was holding on to it because I don't think, she could quite, because it was a child, she could quite bring herself to do that.
Well, you said that she actually, the episode shows her climbing up, looking in the silo and seeing all the grain is still there. And that's what shocked me. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then they go to another scene. Mm-hmm. And it's Herschel being taken, which, by the way, has been true all along.
Yes.
Maggie has told nothing but the truth. Because in the next scene in the flashback, it shows Herschel being taken by the Croats people, the Baratzi.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. So he hands her the wanted poster
He
of
does.
Negan.
Of Negan. Wanted for killing the
He
lawman.
didn't need to tell her anything. He just had to give her that, and she knew she
Yeah.
had to bring Negan to him to get Herschel back.
Right.
So, does that make her any different than Tomas or whatever his name was? Tommaso.
I mean,
because he got them out, and he let the Croat know that they were there and everything. So how is what she's doing any different than what he did? That makes her no different.
I'm going to walk it back a little further for you. In the annals of The Walking Dead, do you remember when the governor made the same request of Rick and them at the prison to turn over Michonne?
Yes.
And they actively considered it.
Yes.
Now, eventually they did not, obviously, because the show wouldn't end up the way it did.
Right.
Go watch that season, Merle. God love
great.
Merle. Some great stuff there. Not a likable person, but a great character for the show.
Right.
Here's Maggie now, who was there for that.
Yep.
And now she's going to pull the trigger. Think about this, that Rick Grimes couldn't do. Now, how many triggers did Rick Grimes not pull?
Right.
She went to do it because that's her son.
Mm-hmm.
That's her baby.
See, she could have, with all of her connections with Oceanside, with the Kingdom, with the CRM, with
Commonwealth, Hilltop.
Or not CRM, Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Hilltop.
different show.
All of them.
Hilltop. All of them. She could have got an army together. Her friends, people that would have gone with her to rescue her son. But she chose to lie to Negan and take him along.
Which now it makes perfect sense, because why didn't she go get Mercer and the stormtroopers?
Yeah.
Or why? Well, that's what they were dressed like. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't she get that group? Because they'd have gone in there and just laid waste to the place and been done with it.
Right.
Or she could have told Daryl. You don't think Daryl would have got on his bike and drove and been like, I owe you. And he'd just gone and done it, just,
right.
and been done with it. But she had to get him, which I was thinking at the beginning of the episode, oh, she needs somebody who fights dirty and ruthless. And as it turns out, no, not at all. She just needed him.
She just proved that she is just as deceitful and deceptive as the next person.
So let me ask you that, because we talked about this in the car today, coming back from our grandson's birthday party. He turned 2.
Happy birthday, Preston.
Happy birthday, Preston. We love you. We had a great time. But he is too, and he's perfect. He's wonderful. But we talked about this, and that is, you keep saying, oh, all these, I have a lot of friends that said, well, we quit watching the show because a lot of the characters weren't likable, because there's nobody to root for. And my point to that is, after 10 years of the apocalypse, or whatever the years is, everybody gets the stink on them. Yes, everybody gets tainted in some form or fashion. I'm not one of the people that say, well, everybody turns rogue. But you know what? I already make mistakes every day in my life, and there's no zombie apocalypse. What would you do if you had to survive? I guarantee you, people would have to take second looks. Look at Father Gabriel, who's a man of the cloth.
Or a man of the something.
Well, father, not the father. He, so good. He starts out as a coward who locked the people of his church out. So
because he was scared.
He was scared.
Wouldn't
you be?
Yeah.
And by the end of the show, he's flipping Rambo with a minister's collar.
Right.
It changed him, but he's still quoting scripture.
Yes.
He's still praying.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, he gutted another priest.
But you do what you have to do in the moment to survive.
To save, forgive me for using this term, but to save his flock.
Yeah.
So to speak. I mean, it touches on everybody. We've seen what? Police officers. Mm-hmm. We've seen clergy, gym teachers, DOT personnel, apparently. Mm-hmm. Probably, to me, the most interesting one is you've still got farm girls who are still alive, because country girls can survive. They absolutely can.
Absolutely.
But it really shows, but it touches on everybody. There is no, oh, I'm above that. Really? You know what? you're all about 3 things away from happening to see who you or I really am.
Oh yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
so. To me, I kind of look at that and go, "You're just doing that to find a reason not to like it." I mean, if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine, but don't try to come up with reasons.
Right.
Have a good reason.
Yeah.
And look, there are some times I felt like the original series lost its way, but you can't do a show for 11 seasons and be at the top of your game. You just know. And by the way, for those that are old like me, we remember shows like MASH. It was on forever.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and watch that show, and everybody thought, "Oh, every episode was great." No, it wasn't. And I love it. And I'll still tell you, no, it wasn't. It does not hold up.
Love it.
I do. But you know what?
It.
Midway through that series, it nosedives in quality, not in fan reception,
right?
Not in ratings, because it still has the highest rated of any show ever. No one will ever. It had like 92% of all televisions were on the finale.
Well, that was also back in the day when there were like 3 channels.
But here's the point: no one's ever going to touch that kind of share.
Right.
So it's always going to take a dip.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, least us forget, in real life, piracy played a big part of that too.
Yeah.
Because you can pirate stuff now. Ask HBO about that and their shows. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things that do go with it. But apparently Maggie is a liar. Not only is she vengeful, but she's a liar as well. And by the way, Negan don't know. But he did say something to the constable I thought was interesting. Your friend, he very quickly said, she's not my friend.
That's true.
Whereas at least at the end of the way they left The Walking Dead, you could at least say she's an acquaintance.
Right.
Now there is no pretense at all.
No.
That he's anything more than a hostage.
Well, I'm really interested to see if they go back and cover why, when she went after him in the beginning, that he ran from her with Jenny. Remember, they ran and she caught them. I
think it was a fight or flight situation. He's like, nope, she's finally come to kill me.
Yeah, but I mean, after all these years, I mean, I thought that, they had ended, with a truce. And then,
But then she shows up with a knife attacking your people. What else are you going to think?
She didn't show up with a knife attacking. Now, they did, after she broke in, they did drag her in, and all of that. But
she committed a crime, breaking and entering. Where's New Babylon when we need them?
Well, I'm just saying that first she was asking about him.
She was asking about him, then she goes to breaking in and stuff.
They lied to her.
Well, you know what? She lied back, so we're even.
Well, I agree.
I think it's an interesting morality play. That morality just depends on who's telling the story. That's what Negan says. He says, you know what? Because remember the episode with Michonne when she takes the psychedelic mushrooms or whatever she did?
Yeah.
Where she was his right hand?
Woo,
You know what?
I think there's a little bit in everybody.
In a multiverse? Who's to say?
Yeah.
All right.
So before we go to that one, let's talk about our all-time favorite walkers.
All right. Well, I know that you have one or two that you want to talk about. So what would be? I do. All right. Well, I know what one of the first ones is going to be, but you go ahead and tell it anyway.
So, probably my all-time favorite Walker episode is the Well Walker.
Now, is that Walker Texas Ranger? Or
no, I don't watch that. You do.
It's fine.
But I don't know why, but that one just hit me in the feels when that Walker split in half.
It's pretty awful, honestly.
It was so disgusting. But it was awesome. Now that's been replaced for me.
So you got a Well Walker. I'll give you my first episode, the little girl.
Oh yeah.
That start for me. You hooked me with that one.
Oh, definitely.
Because you don't in a lot of horror situations you don't see kids,
right?
Because it's taboo. And now look, there's a reason, by the way, NBC passed on it. And AMC got it because originally it was pitched to NBC.
Yeah, that never would have.
NBC, that was exactly. It was never going to happen.
No,
I think to me,
I'm glad it didn't go to NBC because NBC kills everything that it touches, just about,
or knocks it down to 6 episodes for what's half a season. La Brea. Anyway, to me, that was really the first really good one. Now, I'll also say in season 1 they were a whole lot faster than they are now.
Oh, definitely.
Now I can explain that. Because they were freshly turned. But I can also say somebody saw not The Walking Dead, but a whole bunch of other zombie flicks previously,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, they're much worse when they're faster," and they are. If I
They
can't
are.
outrun them, I'm dead.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, because we watched, what was that? We tried watching Z Nation. When did that
That
would
was
have?
more of a comedy, though. You
Well,
mean like
but
World? What about World War Z?
World War Z did it for me. Nope, them suckers moved too fast. I was done.
Random fact: the movie had nothing to do with the book. The book was completely different.
Really?
The book was more about dispatches of scenes here and there. The second book
Oh.
they did was more like the movie.
Yeah.
Random fact, but yeah,
I
that
have to be able to outrun it, or I'm just not. I'm just gonna curl up in a ball and die or something.
I'm a little disappointed that to this point they do not have any mutated walkers that can climb. Because I like the climbing walker.
I think it's, well.
And the walker that can pick up rocks, apparently.
Yeah, time will tell.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Open door handles too.
Maybe they found them and killed them all. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, that was pretty gruesome. That was probably, so the little girl, yeah, she was very memorable.
The well walker was good.
The
Obviously.
well walker was fantastic. Now another one that got me was Sophia when she came out of the barn. That really, but that's the mom in me, the parent that, like, oh my gosh, a little kid. But the well walker, probably, now there have been many beautiful episodes of walkers like that are like built into trees and into the ground and all of that.
And Fear's actually done an okay job with that in a couple of seasons. They've actually done pretty well. Very creative.
Any of that that they've done. The special effects are amazing.
Let me give you one more. Remember this one from the prison? The walkers that had the riot gear on.
Oh, those were cool.
Those were pretty cool. Yeah. It's just different, and I like different.
Yeah, definitely.
Still no zombie animals though.
Well, I'm kind of glad.
We saved that for a zoo, apparently.
Yeah, well, that was good too.
That was a good show.
But my new favorite came from episode 5 when they were after Maggie, and there were 4 of them, all encased in one. Heads pushing through the bodies to try to get to her. Fantastic. Arms flailing. It was incredible to see.
When all those arms opened up.
Yes.
It looked like one of those statues you would see in a Lara Croft game.
Absolutely, that's true.
I thought that. Then I thought, well, it kind of looks like something from Doctor Strange when he kind of did that thing. Then I'm like, well, it kind of looks like something you would shoot in a horror video game.
Oh, it was fantastic.
You unload all of your bullets into the creature. You got to shoot a certain part and destroy it. Then the next part,
Yes. That wasn't a Lara Croft movie or video game.
See, your husband pays attention.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was
cool. He
helps
me find cheat codes when I need it.
You got to find your niche and fill it. The other thing is the push in the face.
Oh,
through
that was incredible.
That was like Alien meets another version of horror, and I really feel like they've tied a lot of different aspects together. And you were blown away by it. I loved it as well. It's hard to be creative after 11 seasons of The Walking Dead, 8 seasons of Fear, 1 season of Tales. What am I missing? Almost a whole season of 6 episodes of Dead City.
We did the one with the CRM.
Oh, that's right. World Beyond, which had 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
That was another like 20 episodes. I mean, what are we talking about? 300 episodes probably?
It's a lot. And they did fantastic.
I think that's a function of some new blood. Angela King does a really great job with the stories and the placement. But I want to give a little credit here, which again, yet another brilliant segue. Eli Jordan.
You know what? I hope that my hope is whoever is directing and writing the Daryl Dixon show does as amazing job as this guy has with Dead City. Dead City has just been phenomenal. Um, I'm going to be so disappointed if something happens and they don't come back. It's going to just break my heart because it's like finally a show, that's come back or, has come something out. There is something else out there that is just fantastic. Just totally, I'm buying the t-shirt. That's all I'm saying. I'm buying it all.
We're talking about Dead City or Secret Invasion. That's airing right now too.
What's Secret Invasion?
Ouch. Ouch, Marvel. Ouch.
Oh, it's a Marvel.
Ouch. That hurts. I feel like he's really reinvigorated these characters and given them more to go with.
Yes.
And I think that's necessary because it could have just been remember Barry. Hey, remember when we did this? Remember when I said that line?
Right.
They didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They've created an actual story to move these characters along further.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Lauren Cohan. Oh my gosh, you guys, and the other people that are in there with them, as a whole unit, they have done fantastic, just fantastic. And kudos, keep it up.
And I will say, it was a brilliant idea to shoot it in New York.
Well, it's in New Jersey, right? I think they're shooting in New Jersey.
Is there a difference? New York, New Jersey are on top of each other.
Well, I don't know.
Let me get the map up. We'll officially check this out. Geography, not my that's right. Geography, not my strong suit. But they've really used the locales to their advantage in ways that The Walking Dead wasn't able to. I don't think they've done really location shoots that have benefited them since Fear of the Walking Dead seasons maybe 3 when they were with the Separatists out in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really affected their show in a positive way. And I think every once in a while you land in the right geographic location and all that stuff just adds to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what we've seen. So if you couldn't tell, we've really enjoyed this season. Now listen, after the first episode, we sat and argued for a good few minutes about, this makes no sense. You heard me say it several times. You're like, well, I can see. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I'm going to tell her something about The Walking Dead. But after the next couple of episodes, I calmed myself down.
Yep.
And I realized, there's more story to tell.
Well, you called it early on, too, about Maggie not being so Lily Snow, clean, white, whatever.
But I'm going to say again, her facials and her reactions have been very dark. Now, obviously, having your child kidnapped and under threat of death is dark enough, but this is dark even for her.
Yeah. And having said that, again, I go back to, and that's what you went with. But one thing we did not cover, who's really in charge?
So there's this really well-dressed lady who hangs out at an opera house where they play concerts where people just basically bang on a piano and just make up lyrics as they go. And the people respond. It would be like putting me behind a piano.
Right.
Strange people roam the hallways. The underbelly of this. Big, scary people.
Well, they definitely pointed out Crowd is not in charge.
No, and that's interesting because you built him up for 5 episodes. Then all of a sudden, in the very end, all of a sudden, as you said last week, he's just a follower.
He is a follower. He is not in charge in any way, shape, or form like I thought. I mean, they really played it up like he was, but that girl that walked out of the room that cursed at him and
gave him the shoulder bump. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shoulder bumps in this show.
You're not anything. You're not in charge.
Dude had his ear blown off. Can you get a little love somewhere?
I find it interesting. You say that. Yes, he had his ear blown off, and it showed all in the episodes. But when he goes to see this woman, whoever she is, he's got a hat on with that ear covered.
Yeah, hanging to the side.
But that woman knew all about who Negan was, and I'm really curious why she wants Negan.
Well, and the other thing is the book she was reading.
Yeah.
Was about European colonization and
conquering.
conquering the Native Americans and such over a 200-year period of time.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me because the Croat does make a statement. My plan almost worked, and it felt like throwaway.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we knew they would come one day. They'd want to reset the world the way it was. So what are you all doing?
Right.
Are you trying to say, no, it should be done a different way? I don't know. And by the way, one episode left.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unless they're going to do like a 90-minute episode, and I kind of get the feeling. I do, but I kind of think they've hit a sweet spot with that 52-ish minutes is what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you wrap all this up.
I don't either.
In one episode.
I don't think we can.
Are you thinking maybe a cliffhanger?
Yeah. I don't see any other way because you still got to rescue Herschel. Mm-hmm. You still got to take them down, mm-hmm. To be able to rescue Herschel. And then you have to get off the island.
Yeah. Just go untie the thing. It floats.
Well, Negan knows that now.
He does.
He knows that now. So, they've got to come back together. Mm-hmm. Maggie's got to come back together with him because that's the only way she's going to get to Herschel.
I'm going to throw one thing out at you. Does Jenny talk now when she sees Negan and tell him what's going on? Because at some point he's got to find out. Will Maggie tell him, or does Jenny blow the whistle?
Well, by all rights, it should be Jenny, but
mm-hmm.
will she speak? We don't know.
You know what? If it's going to be one of those,
does Maggie silence her some way? I don't think Maggie would kill her.
No, that would be Carol would do that.
No, not Carol.
She doesn't like children.
Carol knows kids don't listen, and you need to put the fear of God in them to get them to behave, or they're just going to be eaten.
She got a kid killed.
They got to look at the flowers.
For goodness sakes, they were sugar cookies, and you scared that poor child. Literally,
they were chocolate chip.
Still,
well, sometimes she needed a learning curve there. What was too much. What was, not too much. And that was a little too much. She is sadly responsible for him freaking out. But in all fairness, they should have blindfolded that kid.
That's true.
And walked him out.
Well, it's a scary situation for anybody.
Absolutely. Blindfold me. But then I might have screamed, when something touched me. But, I don't know. But anyway, we should wrap this up.
We should probably wrap this up. We gave a good run at it. All right. You know what we're going to ask of you one last time. That is like this video, subscribe, share it out with the people you love, the people you like. Share it out with people you don't like. That's okay. We're not judgmental people here. We'll take it. No. All right. Well, on behalf of Lady Cephas, I am Lord Cephas. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting and participating. We'll see you all, I guess, next week when the season finale happens. If it's a 2-minute episode, it was terrible. If it's 4 hours, we really, really liked it. So just look at how long the video is before you click on it. That'll tell you what we thought. Mm-hmm. Thank you for doing it, sweetheart. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
I did too. We'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.